Oh boy guys, I'm so excited to be doing this video today on the house of Bohoboco. They are an indie niche fragrance house from Poland, and they were just brought over at Ministry of Scent here in San Francisco. So those of you that are local or nearby visiting San Francisco and you want to smell an indie niche line from Poland, definitely check them out over at Ministry of Scent. But today I'm going to talk to you about 3 of the fragrances that I really enjoy. Dark Vinyl Musk, this one right here. Jasmine White Leather, this one right here. And then finally, Vanilla Black Pepper, this one right here. And I was just recently saying in some vanilla fragrance videos that vanilla and black pepper really goes perfectly together, and they have done a great job with this one. So those 3 fragrances are going to be part of the main video. And then I'm going to go over the rest of the line from the Discovery set here. So I'm going to talk to you about the entire collection. There's 14 fragrances total. Remember, 3 in the main video, and after the outro, quick sniffs of the remainder of the collection. So to find out all about Bohoboco, please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's Sebastian. We're talking about Bohoboco today. Are you familiar with this house? Do let me know. Put a comment down. So I discovered Bohoboco back in 2019 at Pitti Fragranza in Florence. So it was around September, and I believe they were fairly new at that time. I don't think I discovered them earlier that year at Incense. So I've been curious about the house. I discovered them at Pitti Fragranza, as I said, and sure enough, now they're out there. I've seen the brand several times now, once at TFWA, and I believe I've seen them a couple times at Incense as well. So the brand is out. They've got some very unique fragrances, some unusual. And remember, I said this is an indie niche line. So some of the fragrances can be different than what you might be used to, so they're not necessarily very conventional. So with the 3 main fragrances I'm going to talk to you about, the most, I don't want to use the word mass, or I should say more familiar fragrance would be Vanilla Black Pepper, because the combination is fairly, universal. It's been done quite a bit out there, but I feel like Dark Vinyl Musk and Jasmine White Leather are 2 of the more unusual from the collection in the main part of the video. And as I said, they are sold at Ministry of Scent. I have links to the fragrances in the info box. Go check them out. And again, do let me know if you're familiar with the brand. Put a comment down below. But the first fragrance, we're doing this in alphabetical order. So the first fragrance I'm talking about is Dark Vinyl Musk. So you guys know I love musk in fragrances, really enjoy musk. And the idea of a dark vinyl musk, very different, but very fun. For sure. It's smoky. This is smoky, so it does have that kind of vinyl plastic kind of feel when you're wearing it, but there's definitely incense smoke in here, and of course leather as well. And I feel like sometimes leather does smell like vinyl, rubber, things like that, so they've done a really nice job with this one. So the notes are incense, labdanum, cistus, synthetic leather, styrax, amber, musk, balsamic notes, sandalwood, and rose. So this I really enjoy. It's kind of unusual in that it's not your traditional musk. It doesn't smell like deer musk to me. It's more of a leathery, rubbery, vinyl-like musk with some resinous, spicy, smoky touches. And you're going to experience some floral notes come in as well. But man, it's so good. These 3 fragrances from this house are really, really, really great. I chose them because I really, really like these 3 fragrances. I went through the whole entire line, and I know they're wet cherry liqueur is very popular. I did not want to review that today because I'm a bit bored of cherry, as you guys have heard me say over and over again. So these 3, for me, I feel like are the standout fragrances from this house. They're really, really great. And if you like the idea of an unusual vinyl musk fragrance, I should say more like unusual musk fragrance, not your conventional deer musk smell, then I highly, highly recommend you try Dark Vinyl Musk. Again, resinous, balsamic, woody, floral, spicy, really, really great stuff. And again, it's a musk. It definitely wears like a musk, but not a musk that I'm familiar with. It's just a very unique take on a musk. So we're going to go ahead and smell it on camera, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this one. I guess faintly you might experience the rose. It does come in a little bit. I'm going to say that's what gives us the little bit of floral edge to the fragrance. And sometimes it's interesting when I'm classifying fragrances, I put floral, but rose is its own category. It's like a rose. It's so distinct as a smell. It's floral, but for me, I'd rather say it's rose. But it's not necessarily very rosy here for me, so I'm gonna go with the floral. But yeah, definitely vinyl. If you like a vinyl shower curtain smell, like just imagine your vinyl shower curtain has gotten old, you're throwing it away, you bought a new one, it's all folded up in that plastic really nicely, you're opening it up. Yeah, you get that here. Not full on, because it's there, because in the end it's a musk, but there are hints of reminders of that vinyl smell when you first open it up, the shower curtain, when you put it up. But really great. The combination is great. Everything is working perfectly together and wears really beautifully. For me, it does go a little more resinous and the smoke appears more on skin. But in the end, we're dealing with like an ambery musk with some smoke and leather thrown in. Really, really wonderful offering. So Dark Vinyl Musk is the first fragrance I'm going to be talking about from this house. There you go. What I like about these fragrances is the colors. They're very colorful fragrances. Each one has a different color kind of a thing happening. So with this one, there's this kind of a purplish, I wouldn't say wine, but kind of reminding me of wine. But with this next one, Jasmine White Leather, we've got this kind of a pale green color. And this one, oh man, what a wonderful fragrance. And to me, both of them are leathery, whereas the Dark Vinyl Musk is more like a vinyl rubbery kind of leather. And musk, this to me is more leather, motorcycle comes to mind, things like that, like motorcycle jacket is what I should say. But very, very, very sexy fragrance. If you like the idea of a sexy leathery fragrance with jasmine, you should definitely check this one out. So this features notes of white leather, clove buds, jasmine, musk, lavender, white floral bouquet, patchouli, lemons, bergamot, ambergris, tonka, cedar, violets, rose, and vanilla. Lots are going on in here. First of all, it's very floral and leathery, and I feel like the leather and the floral notes balance each other out. Not too much leather, not too much floral notes. It just gives you this nice combo, which makes it a very sexy combo, because I find the fragrance to be very, very sexy. Super, super sexy. But once again, there is a bit of that rubber like leather thing happening, and also smoky. There's some smokiness there. The leather in this does have a bit of animalic quality to it. So I feel like, I don't know if they're using like castoreum or something that smells. I feel like it's kind of an accord that they've created to give us that kind of animalic accord in here. The smokiness to remind me of something like castoreum. So it gives it a bit of an animalic edge, but that white floral touches in this fragrance, the white floral bouquet and the jasmine, really does tone it down, and you get these little dabs of the smoke and the leather and the animalics together, and it creates a really, really wonderful experience when you're wearing it. So there's spices that come in, woods that come in as well. You do definitely experience the white floral notes, but once again, if you're opposed to white flowers, I had a hard time when I was just getting into the reviewing thing and wearing fragrances. White floral notes were one of the most difficult notes for me to really embrace, and I have no problem with them now. And this, to me, the fact that it has all that leather does make it a little more easy to access if you are opposed to or turned off with the white floral notes. But a really fantastic fragrance. When I smell this fragrance, I visualize motorcycle jackets and a motorcycle running throughout. You know, you're getting the smoke of the motorcycle, the gasoline a little bit. The leather is a bit, not necessarily full-on leather, maybe perhaps a bit rubbery or something. But the whole combination with all the overload or overdose of the white flowers that are in here just make for a really great wear. So Jasmine White Leather is so, so good. I hope you guys get to try it and let me know if you have tried it and what you think about it. And those of you that don't like white floral notes, tell me why you don't like white floral notes. But once again, it smells so good. It smells really, really good. Again, it's a nice balance. It's really, really nicely balanced. Like, nothing screams out like too much white floral notes, not too much leather, not too much rubber, not too much smoke. It's musky, for sure it's musky, and a bit animalic, but very sexy. If you like a little dabbling of animalics, I think this is definitely tolerable. I like animalics, but not screaming and swimming in very, very animalic fragrances. This is the right amount for me, and that's what it makes it. The right amount of animalic notes make for a super sexy wear, and I think this is definitely a really great creation. Really wonderful creation from the House of Bohoboco. So that is Jasmine White Leather. And then finally, the third fragrance I'm going to talk to you about here in the main video is Vanilla Black Pepper. Again, if you caught my spicy vanilla videos recently, and I guess there was a couple of other mentions of vanilla. Black pepper and vanilla is such a great combination, such a great combo. Remember, we have Vanagloria from the House of Laboratorio Olfativo. It's incense and vanilla, and for me, incense has black peppery spicy touches. So it's a given that black pepper and vanilla will work great as well, and that's what we have here. It's lots of black pepper with vanilla, lots of vanilla, and there's Olibanum. So there we go. We've got a little bit of that kind of reminder of something like Vanagloria. It doesn't smell like it, by the way, just hint at it. Along with the vanilla, the black pepper, the Olibanum, we've got Cedar, Heliotrope, White Musk, Rosebay, Orange Blossom, Rose, and Nutmeg. Doesn't get very floral from me. There are floral touches in here. For me, it's a dry vanilla as well, not necessarily syrupy, sticky, sweet vanilla, syrupy vanilla. And so it creates, I think it's the Olibanum and the black pepper in here, and all the other notes like cedar, heliotrope, creating a dry effect against the syrupiness of the vanilla. So in the end, you're wearing the fragrance very dry rather than this kind of like, as I said, runny, syrupy, sticky, sweet vanilla. But the combo is super great. It might hint at a few very popular spicy vanilla fragrances out there, and so you might be reminded of it. And then also, as I said, the first two fragrances were the more slightly edgy fragrances. This one seems a bit more conventional and a lot more easier to embrace, especially if you don't like fragrances that are not necessarily conventional. And I'm not saying those two fragrances, the first two fragrances, are very out there, but compared to the Vanilla Black Pepper, and I feel like it's this one's definitely a lot more conventional compared to the other two. But really, really a great smell, top-notch quality, just not overly edgy. But when you're wearing this, you're smelling really, really great. And you know me, I love vanilla, and the spicy vanilla makes it really, really fun and more interesting to wear. Once in a while, I like them to be kind of syrupy, just sweet, sugary, but I like the addition of spices. So this is definitely lots of vanilla with spices. There is a bit of smoke running throughout it, and that heliotrope note throws in a bit of almond effect in here. It makes the fragrance powdery. So every note in here against the vanilla is a dry note. Some light touches of some floral touches, the rose comes in very faint in here. It doesn't really show up too much, and the orange blossom does add a little bit of a citrusy floral touch to the fragrance. And it has the white musk in here as well. But a really, really great quality fragrance. I'm so happy that I'm getting to talk to you guys about Bohoboco. I've been wanting to talk to you about the brand. And thankfully, they are now sold here in San Francisco at Ministry of Scent. And this is the third and final fragrance I'm talking to you about. It's Vanilla Black Pepper here in the main part of the video. But do let me know what your thoughts are on Bohoboco. Have you gotten your nose on these fragrances? And if you haven't, you've been curious, or never even heard about them and you watch this video, what do you think? Will you check them out? Do let me know that as well. Put a comment down below. Again, they're sold at Ministry of Scent here in San Francisco, and if you're local or nearby, go visit them, tell them Sebastian sent you, or I have links in the info box. You can check out the fragrances on their website as well. Either way, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Please like this video, please share it, follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. Okay, thanks so much for sticking around to catch the rest of the fragrances. I'm going to talk to you about all the fragrances, the entire collection. The first three, the main fragrances that I spoke to you about, and the remainder here. And this is a great discovery set as well, by the way. This is a great way to discover the brand. In fact, you can check them out and see what you like and which fragrances sound great to you. And this discovery set is also sold at Ministry of Scent. And here's what the fragrances look like right here. So the first one we're going to talk to you about, or I'm going to talk to you about, is coffee and white flowers. So coffee and white flowers features notes of coffee, jasmine, chocolate, golden rum, cinnamon, cloves, cacao, vanilla, and synthetic leather. So sometimes you'll see synthetic leather come up in some of the fragrances, and sometimes they don't mention synthetic. So I don't understand what kind of leather they're using for some of the fragrances, but either way. So this coffee with flowers, very coffee and very white flowers. There's some booziness here and a little bit of a chocolate thing happening. Maybe something in the reminder of something like Cafe Tuberosa, but more edgy, more white flowers, and no rose in this one. There's a little bit of a leather that's creeping in as well from the bottom, but it's definitely kind of a gourmand white floral combo, and the idea of something like Cafe Tuberosa and even Intense Cafe is definitely right on with coffee white flowers, but they're not smelling like that fragrance, just the idea I'm saying. So next one we're talking about is Eternal Lily Amber. I really do like the smell of lilies, by the way. I grew up Christian Orthodox, so lilies were really big for us during Easter. And this one has a nice green color, as you can see. Let me know if you've sampled this line and what your thoughts are. Lilies, Turkish rose, Granny Smith apples, amber, jasmine, Indonesian patchouli, Madagascar vanilla, Sicilian mandarin. This one seems very fresh and fruity. Oh yeah, this is good. This is good. I do smell the lilies and lots of the apples, and the rose comes in as well. Eventually it'll dry down to the earthiness of the patchouli, the amber, vanilla, but it's very fresh up top. I feel like also the rose and Granny Smith apples are maybe dominating a little too much of the lilies. I was thinking something like Lee Mediterranee from the house of Frederick Malle, but I'm not getting very similar lilies in that one compared to the Lee Mediterranee. So the next one I'm going to talk to you about is Eucalyptus Patchouli. You know I love patchouli. That's this one right here. So this one has notes of eucalyptus, patchouli, moss, frankincense, olibanum, cedarwood, cardamom, and pink pepper. Does sound great, right? Yeah, I like the idea of this one. I don't think it was as exciting as some of the other fragrances, so I didn't review this one fully for you guys, but the combo sounds great, and it smells good. It's just not as good as the other ones. And definitely the eucalyptus has got that camphor touch for sure. If you're at all familiar with eucalyptus, you'll know. To me, the eucalyptus jumps out much more on skin. The patchouli comes through, and also the moss comes through. And I love mossy fragrances. This to me sounds or smells like walking the coast of San Francisco here along the beach, maybe after or during the rain, because there's that very distinct smell, minus the beachy smells or the oceanic sea smells. But yeah, it's nice. It wasn't one of my favorites of the brand. Next, we're smelling geranium balsamic note. I like the idea of a geranium fragrance. My favorite geranium fragrance is Geranium odorata from the house of Diptyque. There's other fragrances out there. This is balsamic notes with geranium. So it has notes of geranium, juniper berries, bay leaves, cedarwood, balsamic notes, and olibanum. So there's smokiness here, and balsamic notes like balsams that are added in here. They're not really, crediting, like it could be Peru balsam or Tolu balsam or some other balsamic notes. So eventually, starting with a geranium aromatics, going down to more balsamic resins during the dry down with the cedarwood. To me, it was a bit boring. I wasn't as exciting as the first three fragrances I spoke about, but there's a place for that one for someone that likes the idea of geranium with resinous balsamic notes. The next one is Olibanum and Gardenia. Very interesting combination once again. Here is Olibanum Gardenia. So this has notes of olibanum in the base, olibanum in the heart, labdanum, sandalwood, lime, coconut, neroli, cedarwood, gardenia. So interesting combo, right? Gardenias are some of my favorite flowers. When I was little, my mom loved gardenias, so my dad always had gardenias gifted to my mom. So I absolutely love the smell of gardenias. Again, I was saying earlier, it wasn't very easy for me to wear white floral notes, but now I love gardenias. But this one, to me, it's more like church gardenias at church service. The Olibanum is really, really strong. You've got Olibanum in the base and the heart. So it's an overdose of Olibanum here. And of course, it creates a little bit of a ambery touch with the Labdanum. There's woods, slight touches of coconut, not getting much of it because I feel like the Labdanum does dominate and it kind of hides the gardenia for me. I'm not getting a lot of gardenia. It does appear a little more on skin, but I wanted more gardenia and all I got was Olibanum. And I don't know if it's because it's appearing in the heart and the base. It might be just a bit too much Olibanum. But, you know, some people might like a little floral touch with Olibanum. Then they're going to be happy with Olibanum gardenia. Next, it's red wine, brown sugar. What a combo, right? Do you like the idea of wine and fragrances? Again, the colors of these, the juices of these fragrances are really, really cool. And they totally stand out in the bottles. But red wine, brown sugar features notes of red fruits, dried fruits, red wine, liqueur, brown sugar, cedar, synthetic leather, caramel, patchouli, and blackberries. So the idea of sugary, sweet, fruity, and boozy is a great combo, I think, right? We'll see. If I remember this correctly, again, it's solid. It just wasn't my favorite compared to the first three. But also there's a bit of leather that comes in. And the leather reminds me of the leather in the first two. There's a bit of like rubbery, vinyl-y, leathery thing happening here. But I feel like the fruits are a bit too much. Yeah. I think the red wine is fruits in the end. So it's got a fruitiness there. But then you're overdosing with red fruits and dried fruits. And then on top of that, liqueur could be a bit fruity as well. So it's a bit very fruity. And I'm not really experiencing the brown sugar on me when I wear this one. I think it's just more like a sweetener rather than the real experience of brown sugar. So that's why I didn't choose red wine and brown sugar. But then again, somebody might be really into red wine, brown sugar, and they'd be crazy for it. But definitely not one of my favorites from the brand. But still a fairly solid release, I think. Next up, it's Sandalwood Neroli. So this one, Sandalwood Neroli, it's a good combo, right? I like the idea of sandalwood and orange. I think the orange sweetness does balance out the creaminess of the sandalwood. I've worn a couple of fragrances, but this is Neroli. It's more of the floral notes. It's sandalwood base, sandalwood heart, Neroli, bergamot, jasmine, cedar, smoky notes, synthetic musk. So we've got another overdose of notes of sandalwood, and just like the Olibanum in the last fragrance. So it does, you know, kind of overwhelm the Neroli. And I love neroli and fragrances, I absolutely do. And this one became a bit too sandalwoody. But once again, somebody's looking for a sandalwood fragrance. It's overdosed with sandalwood with hints of neroli coming in. So this one might win their heart. But for me, when a fragrance is called sandalwood neroli, I wanted a little more neroli. Or I didn't want the sandalwood to wash out the neroli much. So even though you'll experience the neroli, but I feel like once you're in the heart, neroli kind of disappears a bit. And then, you know, we're really swimming in sandalwood. But in the end, I think for sandalwood, this is really, really great. It's a very creamy, very, very rich kind of sandalwood. But it's milky as well, I should say. Very rich, creamy, milky. But I just wanted a little more neroli. And then also the neroli, typically in fragrances, does create a soapiness. For me, I'm getting more soap rather than the actual smell of the neroli in here. I think it's good. It's definitely better than, for me, like the patchouli eucalyptus and things like that. It's definitely wearable, but more for like a soapy, clean, milky, creamy sandalwood rather than actual neroli. Really, you know, wearing like neroli. So the next one, it's Sea Salt and Caramel. And there's already a fragrance called Salt and Caramel from Shea and Blue. And I thought this might smell like it, but this definitely is marine, whereas the other fragrance, it's more sea salt, rather. So this has notes of salted caramel, jasmine, sea salt, seaweed, bay leaves, brown sugar, cedarwood, fresh lemons, and pink pepper. It's the seaweed that's going to create the marine effect. And sadly, this one didn't win me over, unfortunately, obviously. Otherwise, I would have spoken about it. It's a bit fruity as well, but I think whatever goes in here creates this kind of a not necessarily very caramelly caramel. So it's more salty marine, and there's some sweetness around it. I wanted it to be kind of sticky, sugary, but the sea salt tones that down. The marine notes also tones it down. But I get something fruity in here, and most likely it's the fresh lemons combined with the marine notes, or the seaweed in this case, to give me a bit of a fruitiness. I don't know why I'm getting fruity, but I got that. But it is definitely very marine for me, and not necessarily very caramelly once again. So just to kind of reiterate, these are called one note and another note, and usually the second note is not as dominant as the first note, but I felt like when they add notes like twice in the heart and base, or the top and heart or something, I felt like that kind of washed out the second note. But the next one I really did enjoy. I had a hard time picking it. It's Yellow Rose Incense. And you know, we have rose incense from Amouage, so that actually works. But yeah, I didn't select it because, you know, I like the other ones more. But look at the color of this one. It's definitely yellow. I like that. They're kind of very colorful. Do you guys like colorful juice and fragrances, or is it done too much? Let me know. I don't think the colors of these fragrances are like this. I think they add coloring to the fragrances. But this one really does smell good. As soon as I smelled it, I spritzed it, I smelled it. I like the rose and incense combo. It's a great combo. Just like I like vanilla and incense, I like rose and incense as well. So this would have been definitely an easy choose for me. But it has rose, incense, patchouli, oud, white musk, benzoin, amber, cloves, and cinnamon. It does get warm, spicy when it's drying down. It smells really great. I really like this one. It's a tough decision to decide on, you know, certain fragrances. But let me know if you've sampled this one. Do you enjoy it as much as I do? All right, we've got two more left, and I think this next one is the most popular from this house. At least I have the strange feeling because cherry is so in. This is Wet Cherry Liqueur, this one right here. Are you a fan of this one? Have you tried it? It's cherries, cherry syrup, liqueur, tonka beans, strawberries, caramel, vanilla, sandalwood, vetiver, Turkish rose. I've sampled this along the way. I enjoy it, but I'm just a bit bored of cherries and fragrances. Let me know if you're really into cherries, or if you're bored of cherries as well. Which note is going to be the note of this year? Let me know. But this Wet Cherry Liqueur, it'll remind you of Tom Ford's Lost Cherry. It's fruitier. I think the cherry is just overdosed here. And I'm not getting leather like I get with a few other cherry fragrances, like 1015. Room 1015 has Cherry Punk. Their Extrait, or the extreme version, the higher concentrated version, is a lot of leather, which I really, really love. For me, that's my favorite cherry fragrance. Absolutely love it. This one, it's more sandalwood when it's drying down, a bit rose, but it's very fruity and boozy up top. I think it's definitely fun and pleasant. Just, again, I'm a bit bored of cherry, unfortunately, so we will say that about it. But I know this one has fans. I know cherry is pretty popular, and most likely this is the number one favorite from this house. But the last fragrance I'm going to talk to you about is Wild Carrot Oud, this one right here. Do you guys know this one? Do you like the idea of carrots and oud? So carrots provide an iris-like powdery effect to fragrances. And then, of course, you've got oud here. Let me read the notes. It's dry woods, oud, earthy. It says earth. I'm assuming it's earthy notes. Styrax, animalic notes, leather, tobacco, cedar, cinnamon, and bergamot. What do you guys think? How does it sound to you? So it's very powdery, for sure. Woody. I'm not getting a funky animalic oud. Maybe lightly, very lightly. There's a vegetal vibe. It's got some earthiness, a bit like soil, the earth of the, actual earth that you dig. There's some warm spices in there. This one's, to me, a bit boring, unfortunately. It's not an exciting fragrance. I feel like there's no highs. Everything is low. It's dense. Nothing is contrasting against the denseness of all the dense notes that are in here. And even though it has animalic notes, I personally don't get too much animalic, a little bit, and it just kind of boring, I think. But either way, those are my thoughts on the entire collection. I can go through this, probably settle on a few more, but outside of the 3 that I chose, the Incense and Rose, the Yellow Rose is really, really good. Really, really good. I would pick that one as a favorite of mine as well. And a few others that I like, I didn't really love. But let me know your thoughts on this whole entire line. Put a comment down below. Other than that, thanks so much for watching. See you guys later. Bye.